I now give the floor to the co-agent of Bolivia, His Excellency Ambassador Llorenti Solis. You have the floor, sir.
Mr. President, distinguished judges, it is the greatest honor for me to appear before you in representation of my people and my state. Allow me to begin reiterating the words of President Evo Morales during his recent visit to Santiago de Chile. Geography has made us neighboring countries. Our peoples make us sisters and brothers, and faith make us inseparable. Mr. President, for 139 years, Bolivia has had the continuous and consistent position of returning to the Pacific Ocean with sovereignty and recovering its maritime quality. This collective consciousness remains alive and invariable, not that Bolivia is going through a process of structural transformations, reasserting its plurinational character and materializing enormous efforts to overcome its challenges within the framework of a full democracy. Why does a nation persevere for more than a century in recovering its access to the sea? Why has the passing of the years failed to extinguish Bolivia's vehemence of returning to the coast of the Pacific Ocean? Why has the American Hemisphere declared this to be a matter of permanent interest? The answer to those questions is related to several factors, such as the origins of the issue, a military invasion in 1879, driven by foreign interests that sought to seize our natural resources, cutting off and depriving us of foreign access to the Pacific Ocean. Furthermore, for more than a century, Chile has recognized the need to find a solution for Bolivia's confinement, making repeated promises, taking on commitments, and agreeing to negotiate with Bolivia a sovereign access to the sea. The reason why we have come before you is that Chile has breached those engagements. Another reason concerns the serious economic and commercial damages caused by this injustice. To mention but one, from 2013 to 2015, it was impossible to ship Bolivian cargo for a total of 143 days because of strikes in Chilean ports and bureaucratic delays. In addition, they deprive us of the enormous resources of the ocean and seriously limit our access to Pacific maritime routes, which are the most dynamic of the century. But there are yet other reasons, which are much deeper and indelible. There is an unbreakable bond between Bolivia and the sea. It is a link imprinted in our soul since long before our motherland became an independent nation. The majority of Bolivians, men and women, are descendants of indigenous peoples, who, as stated in the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, have suffered from historic injustices as a result of, inter alia, their colonization and dispossession of their lands, territories, and resources. The members of the Tiahuanacu, Charca, Uru, Aymara, and Quechua nations have lived on those lands for centuries, maintaining a relationship with the seas as part of the inseparable link to Mother Earth. Even our head of state, President Morales, has childhood memories, walking with his father for 15 days, carrying salt from the highlands to the fertile valleys in exchange for agricultural products, just as his ancestors had done from time immemorial, from the mountains to the ocean. The sea is within our soul. Distinguished judges, Bolivia is the sum of a diversity of identities that make up the crucible of our nation. Bolivia has an Indian identity linked to the mountains, an Amazon identity, a Chaco identity, but it also has a severe identity, an identity that was taken from it, an identity it has never forgotten, inextinguishably linked to the sea, a coastal identity. For those reasons, putting an end to our landlocked situation, to our imposed confinement, is fundamental for Bolivia. Before and after the birth of this court, in the bilateral and multilateral sphere, either in the League of Nations, the United Nations, the Organization of American States, and in our direct relationship with Chile, returning to the Pacific Ocean with sovereignty has been, is, and will be an unwavering cause. Throughout the proceedings in this case, Bolivia has shown that as a result of historical continuity and the binding nature of its undertakings, Chile is under an obligation to negotiate Bolivia's sovereign access to the sea. The scope of our claim has been clearly defined in your judgment of 24 September 2015. This matter is not related to the 1904 treaty, and it is not about our constitution. It's surprising that Chile is still insisting with these arguments. Mr. President, we do believe that history is on our side, that truth is on our side, that justice is on our side, but above all, our case is rigorously founded in international law. Our generation has a unique opportunity to fulfill the long-delayed promise of leaving future generations without the burdens of the past. That was the message of President Morales in his recent visit to Santiago de Chile, where he added, "I have come here to extend and offer the hand of fraternity. Let us put all our efforts in this. It is not impossible. We can overcome our difference. Let us write together with courage the most significant page in the common history of Chile and Bolivia." Moving forward, Bolivia is prepared to build the conditions necessary for resuming diplomatic relations with Chile. Bolivia believes that there are mutually acceptable and practical solutions to this problem. Bolivia is prepared to immediately work with Chile to put concrete proposals on the negotiating table. Bolivia wants a win-win situation for both peoples. All that Chile needs to do is to accept this offer in good faith and consistently fulfill its historical promise. Mr. President, distinguished judges of the court, I could have read an extract from the thousands of poems or songs on the sea written by Bolivians or citizens from other brother countries over more than a century. I could have also repeated one of the many statements of support for our cause by Pope John Paul II or Pope Francis, United Nations or the Organization of American States Secretaries General, presidents and former presidents of many countries of the world, Nobel Peace Prize winners, and social or political leaders. But I have chosen to read an extract from the Chilean poet Vicente Huidobro, who in 1938 wrote these words as if he were here today in this great hall of justice. If we, the Chilean people, were in the position of the Bolivian people, would we not want an access to the sea? As a Chilean citizen and as a human being, I believe and I assert that we should engage in conversation with Bolivia as soon as possible, and that both countries must and can solve this major problem of an access to the sea for the Bolivian nation, with generosity and fraternity. A nation cannot be suffocated, and it would be inhuman to do so. The access to the sea for Bolivia, says Huidobro, is in the hands of Chile. It would be sad if Chile ignored the voice of its neighbor. Distinguished members of the court, President Evo Morales captures the voice of Bolivians when he says, "For my people, the sovereign sea has been and it is the encounter with infinity, the encounter with all peoples of the world, with all cultures inhabiting the earth. I speak on behalf of the millions of children in my country who have never felt the waves of the sea lapping over their feet, and the children to come who do not deserve a fate enclosed between the mountain ranges." Mr. President, distinguished judges of the court, this brings me to the conclusion of my statement. I thank you for your consideration, and I ask that you invite Bolivia's agent to read our final submission.